Hello, witches and wizards, and welcome back to Potterwatch, the best, according to me anyway, Harry Potter Wizard World podcast out there for all your news, up-to-date fun, quizzes, Hogwarts legacy stuff, anything to do with Harry Potter and the Wizarding World, of course a TV show. Why am I not mentioning that? Who knows? But this is Potterwatch, and this is your home for it. But obviously, as we know, it's also the home on a Friday. We review one chapter each week from the Harry Potter book. This being episode 10, a massive milestone in the podcast. Very short history of 5 weeks, but episode 10, we are on to chapter 5 of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Diagon Alley, or Diagon Alley, or however you want to say it. Of course, as always, just want to thank you all for the comments, for the sort of feedback, the engagement, especially on these ones. I really enjoy looking at the comments and how other people decipher some stuff and how others think, oh, that. And like I say, if you ever do have a question about the previous chapter or the chapter coming up, just anything at all in terms of Harry Potter, leave a comment, and obviously I might answer it in the sort of intro part, and we'll just talk about it. But of course, like I say, we're going to dive right on in to chapter 5. So a little reminder for what happened in chapter 4, the Keeper of Keys. Go and watch that episode if you haven't. Go and watch them all if you haven't. What are you doing? It was called Keeper of the Keys, Harry's birthday. He's woken up at midnight to a very loud knock. A big giant named Hagrid comes knock down his door, tells him he's a wizard, gives his cousin a pig's tail. Really good chapter. Had lots to talk about, including Lily Potter's very weirdly remembered eyes, a bit of Voldemort in there, and Mr. Dumbledore, which is like, what? I still don't. Yeah, Mr. Dumbledore. There we go. But we're on to chapter 5 now, Diagon Alley, and really good chapter. This, the longest chapter I think in the book. It's a massive 49 to. It is just under. It's 18 pages long. 18 pages long in this book. So yeah, like I say, let's get into it. This chapter is all about Harry going to London with Hagrid to buy his school supplies. We visit Gringotts, we meet Draco Malfoy. Let's not forget about that. Of course, we meet Professor Quirrell. And we also meet a few little fun characters that'll pop up from time to time, like your Daedalus Diggles, your Tom the Barkeeper, Grip Hook, Ollivander, Madame Malkin. So many stuff. And obviously, we learn about Quidditch. I mean, the list is endless. The houses, honestly, we're going to get a Hedwig, a wand. I mean, this one is mad. Really big. Lots of stuff to talk about. I've got. How many notes have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 40. I've got, honestly, it's 60 notes. That's how much. And compared to last chapter, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I had 30. And that episode was about 50 minutes long. So we're in for a treat here with my whopping 60 notes. God knows how long this is going to go on for. But yes. Let's get into it. So, here we go. Journey. That is complete wrong chapter. That is the next chapter. So, Diagon Alley. So, it starts up with Harry waking up early the next morning. Although he could tell it was daylight, he kept his eyes shut tight. So, it was a dream, he told himself. So, he couldn't. This amazing thing happened to him last night. He's still, oh, it's a dream. A man named Hagrid came to tell me I was a wizard to take me away. He's like, no. And there's a little owl knocking at the window. He's hearing tap, tap, tap. And he's like, it's Petunia knocking. And it's tap, tap, tap again. Like, all right, I'm getting up. And then Hagrid's coat slips off him. And he's open the beautiful light in the hut on the rocks. And he's like, whoa. So he goes to see this owl and like, what do you want? And I actually really like, bless it, nothing good could happen. I mean, granted, it is pretty unbelievable that he was a wizard. And there's a half giant coming. His cousin's got a pig's tail. Like I said last time, how did you sleep? I would not have been able to sleep with this. And how did the Dursleys sleep? Like, Dudley's got a bloody pig's tail. Like, surely they didn't sleep either. But there we go. So the owl wrapping its claw on the window, a newspaper held in its beak. And this again, how does the owl know where Hagrid is? Like, he's in a proper random place, like fetching after Harry, but his subscription for the Daily Prophet, which probably always goes to his hut at Hogwarts. He's like, yeah, Hagrid's here, guys. Like, because there's no trace, obviously, after you turn 17. And I was talking about it a bit like last time, where they often find Dumbledore with the owl, he just throws out. Like, what? It's so just like, how does it find him? I feel like Owl Magic deserved its own like Pottermore page back in the day. It's probably too late for that now, but there we go. Just one of those things always annoys me. Like, how the fuck does the owl know where to go? Like, how did he know where Hagrid was? How? I don't know. Is he left a letter? Going to a hut on the rock. Please deliver my paper here. Anyway, Harry scrambled his feet, so happy he felt as a large balloon was swelling inside of him. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Jerked it open, the owl swooped in and dropped the newspaper on top of Hagrid, who didn't wake up. Wake up, Hagrid, you lazy bollocks. And a bit like how a dog scratches, like when he wants to get out the door, things like that, he starts attacking his coat because he wants paying. And I was like, what? Pay him? He wants delivering for the paper, look in the pockets. And then this is obviously just for the best part. Hagrid's coat seemed nothing but pockets. A bunch of keys, because, of course, last time out he was the keeper of keys. He's not that anymore, I can tell you that. Slug pellets, balls of string, mint humbugs, tea bags. Finally, Harry pulled out a number of strange-looking coins, giving 5 Knuts. Knuts? The little bronze ones. I know Hagrid's half asleep, but surely him, like, oh yeah, this guy don't know he's a wizard, but yeah, give him the Knuts. Harry counted 5 little bronze coins, and then the owl held out its leg so he could put it in. And 5 Knuts for a paper. I reckon 2 or 3 is enough. Again, Muggle money, wizard money is just absolutely crazy and makes no bloody sense. So obviously, you've got. Does he explain it here, or is it later on? It's 17 sickles to a galleon and 29 Knuts to a sickle. So obviously, if you do 29 times 17, you get the answer of how much Knut is in a sickle. And like the pricing of things as we go along, honestly, I get you want to make it wacky and stuff, but when wizards are not understanding what a £20 note is or a £10 note is, we literally have a 10. It says 10, it's got the number 10 on it, massive 10. But you're there going, oh yeah, it's that'd be 4 galleons, 6 sickles, and 3 Knuts. Like, what? Why is there 3 units of like pounds, pennies? You know, that's what we use: pounds and pence, dollars, cents, euros, cents. You introduce a third like currency. No. You're just overcomplicating it there. You're just being silly. You're being stupid for the sake of it. And to be honest, I don't understand how, like, a gold coin, if that's made of proper gold, they're worth like thousands of pounds. Like, just one coin alone must be worth about $3,000. I'm not being funny, like proper solid gold. And then you've got these little bronze shit coins. And then there's like stuff where you're paying with galleon, like a 1 7 galleons, but then there's like other stuff that's like 20, like a 1 should be. There's so much material that goes into a wand, and man, like, Ollivander, I think you're undercharging. As we go on, we'll find out more about this. But yeah, my rant about money is not over yet. Do not worry. So obviously, it's like, do you think? Yeah, obviously, he's, oh god, I can't pay for anything. I've got no money. And then he's like, what you on about? They didn't keep their gold in the house, boy. And this thing of like, boy, like. This, like I think I mentioned a bit this last time, they always call Harry, like Hagrid calls him boy, Dumbledore calls him boy at time here. Like, I don't know, it's like a bit less, you're like Dickensian. You boy, you're like Scrooge. You boy, what day is it? Like, I always read it in that voice, like, you boy down there, what day is it? It's Christmas Day, sir. Oh boy. Like, no one else speaks like that. And then they don't do it for the rest of us. So no one else calls Harry boy after. It's like, you boy, don't be silly boy. He's not for stone boy. A bit like it sounds a bit like bully as well. There's a character, I'm trying to think, is it? It's Dr. Dr. Crabblesnitch, I feel like he calls people boys a lot. Like, you there, boy. What are you doing, boy? You girl. And it's just a bit of odd writing. Yeah, very Dickensian-like, but yeah, a bit odd. Anyways, like, no, the house was destroyed. We didn't keep it in the house, you moron. They kept it at Gringotts. And he's like, Gringotts? Wizards have banks, yeah, Gringotts. Goblins? Goblins? God, like, magic creatures, and we'll learn a lot about goblins. He goes, yeah, so you've been managed to try and rob it. I'll tell you, never mess with goblins, Harry. Gringotts is a safer place for anything you want to keep, except maybe Hogwarts. And as we come to learn, Hogwarts is not fucking safe when Harry Potter is there. Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets. Crazy man coming to kill Harry, apparently. Triwizard Tournament, Voldemort's back. Umbridge, Voldemort's in the open. Dumbledore dies there. Gets taken over. Massive war where loads of people die. Not a very safe place. And obviously, we learn here, this is like just a drop of like, yeah, don't mess with goblins, the buggers, don't try and rob. And of course, what does Harry do in Deathly Hallows? Yeah, I'm going to mess with this goblin, pretend I'm going to promise him the sword of Gryffindor, but not really promise him it. Oh, I try and rob Gringotts. Oh, bugger. Backscabbed. Got to fly out of the dragon. As we learn, obviously, as well, all about there could be a dragon here. So yeah, very not. It's not foreshadowing at this point, but yeah, obviously, like Oggy's first ever mention of Gringotts, like, yeah, don't rob it, don't do that with it. I'm going to do all that. And as a matter of fact, I got to visit Gringotts anyway for Dumbledore Hogwarts business. Hagrid drew himself up proudly. He usually gets me to do the important stuff for him, fetching you, getting things from Gringotts. Knows he can trust me. Do you go to Gringotts a lot for him? And obviously, this is interesting because this day is the day that Quirrell will try to rob Gringotts, do what Hagrid says not to do, and try and steal the Philosopher's Stone. I wonder if Dumbledore sort of talks about it openly, like to try and tip Quirrell off to get him to do something stupid. Because, like, is it common knowledge? This is what I never. Is it common knowledge like the Philosopher's Stone, or is it something Voldemort knows? Like, why is the Philosopher's Stone at Gringotts? Like, if is Flamel put it there, is Dumbledore? Because it's the sort of thing Dumbledore's looking after it for him. But so does the teachers know? Because then, again, obviously we'll talk about the sort of trials and stuff later on. The Philosopher's Stone trials. Fluffy, Devil's Snare, etc., etc. It's like. Again, Harry thinks it's to test him, sort of thing, and like letting me have a go. And yeah, it's like, does Dumbledore tip off Quirrell just be like, oh, I'm gonna get this guy stuck in Gringotts or something? It's because it's on that day as well. Like, oh, I better get it now. Like, I wonder if he actually does tip off, see if it can be trusted, sort of thing. It's an interesting thing to think about there. But yeah, anyway, we're going now, and we get outside and. The boat is full of water. It's a bit buggered. Boat's full of water, and he's like, oh, "I flew here." And he's like, "You flew?" And obviously, we know Hagrid can't use a broomstick because he's too big for that. He squash a fresh squirrel, I think. So how did he flew? Has he still got the motorbike? Because obviously Sirius Black never got him. Where's the motorbike at this point? So it's like. How did Hagrid fly? He's not Mary Poppins in layering this Last Jedi. Go, how did he fly? It's just such an interesting question. I mean, I've not really thought to search it up and see what other people say, but let's just do it. How did Hagrid fly to the hut on the rock? And we've got here. Snape knew how to fly without you every 2 broomstick. Yep. Oh, Reddit, you need the app now. That's brilliant. Let's see what these people say. Yeah, no one knows. No one knows at all. So we can we can't even speculate. Like I said, I'm giving you the options. I guess it's up to you to pick one. I couldn't pick one at all. But yeah. There we go. He flew, and it's like, yeah, but we'll go back in this. Not supposed to use magic now. I've got you. They settled in the boat, and if there's water everywhere, you're gonna get such a wet ass. Like, there's nothing worse than having a wet ass. If you've ever sat on like something that's slightly wet, or you fall out, oh, having that wet backside, especially if it's dirty water and from the rain. Oh, it's one of the worst feelings in the world. So at least use some magic to dry it. And then Hagrid's like, oh, not supposed to use magic, but it seems a shame to road, doesn't it? So he taps it to speed things up. He's like, don't tell anyone about Hogwarts, because, I'm expelled and I was not allowed to use magic. And we found out a bit more about how Hagrid's wand a bit later on. So he pulled out the pink umbrella, tapped it twice on the side, and the boat sped off. And I used to imagine it like a speedboat, like James Brown music going, da-la-la-la. It's going, going really fast. So then Harry asks, why would you be mad to try and rob Gringotts? Spells, enchantments. And of course, we know about the Fee's downfall. Obviously, we do know there is dragons. And he obviously says, they say there's dragons guy in the high security vaults, and then you got to find your way out. Gringotts is hundreds of miles under London, deep under the underground. You'd die of hunger trying to get out, even if you did manage to get your hand on something. Like hundreds of miles. Do you know how deep 100 miles is? Like how many miles to the Earth core? So the core is about 4,000 miles, and you're saying hundreds of miles. You're talking a quarter of the time to get to the Earth's core. Do you know how little oxygen and how warm and horrible and just like no wonder you're feeling if it is 100 miles, which it shouldn't be. Like that is too far. Like you're gonna you die. I feel like if you're going that far, hundreds of miles. Like honestly, or it's just an exaggeration. But then again, yeah, you've got the under. It's got to be under the underground. That's fair enough. But yeah, God, hundreds of miles. Like no wonder you're feeling sick, Hagrid. I'm surprised you're gonna. I'm surprised you're alive. I'm surprised you're alive. But there we go. So then Hagrid reads newspaper and he goes, Minister of Magic, messing things up again. And then he's like, there's a Minister for Magic. Before he could stop him. Of course, they wanted Dumbledore for Minister, of course, but he'd never leave Hogwarts, so old Cornelius Fudge got the job. And again, setting up that thing of like the weird sort of like tension between Dumbledore and Fudge, in terms of like Dumbledore's a teacher like at a school, but he's also the most powerful wizard ever. And he's like the headmaster of a school, but they want him for Minister for Magic. Is like, no, I'm just going to be a head teacher. And of course, we learn about his struggle with power and why he didn't want it and shouldn't want it. And obviously, you get to see that in Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore, where he wants to be like the supreme mugwump. He's like, no. I cannot be the supreme mugwump. I cannot be trusted with power. And obviously, we're learning Deathly Hallows all about that too. Where he's like, yeah, only certain men can have power, like you, Harry. I was never a man for power. That was a shit Dumbledore impression, but there you go. And yeah, we learn about the old blunder that is Cornelius Fudge, and getting a name dropped early. And obviously, he's been cast in a TV show, but I don't know if we'll get to see him or if he'll just be on like the front of this paper. It's like, yeah, we'll get you a picture in this one, but Chamber of Secrets, you're starring. You've got stuff to do. And he's like, yeah, he pelts Dumbledore with owls each morning, asking for help. Which obviously, if he's messing things up by asking Dumbledore for advice, it doesn't mean he takes Dumbledore's advice. He's just like, right, Dumbledore says that. Sometimes I'll do that. But obviously, as we see, sometimes Cornelius Fudge has this obvious minority complex sort of thing with him. Like, oh, God, he's so much better than me. Inferiority complex, sorry, not minority. Completely different words. This inferior complex with him. It's like, oh, I probably, I don't want to take that advice. So he probably does the opposite of what Dumbledore says, and that's why he's such a mess. Like, because of this ego and this pride, it's like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, but people will be like, oh, why have you done that? And it's like, oh, Dumbledore recommended. It's like, I can't do that. So he's stuck in a bit of a rock and a hard place, old Cornelius. But and obviously their main job is to keep the Muggles from finding out there's witches under the country. And Harry's like, why? And Hagrid's like, well, we don't want, everyone just be wanting magical solutions for their problems. Nah, we're best left alone. And I sort of get that, because if I had like a wizard at the end of my street who could sort out like 99% of my problems, I probably would be pestering them a lot. Like, yes, can you do this for me? Yeah, oh, perfect. Can you just cut the lawn? Defender. Oh, saved me a job. So yeah, all that fun stuff. I'm in agreeing with him. We then touch about Hagrid walking through this small town and just amazed by all the muggle stuff. Obviously, he's twice as tall as anyone else. And he kept pointing at perfectly ordinary things like parking meters and going, "See that, Hagrid? Harry?" No, he doesn't say that to himself. Hagrid, do you see that? He doesn't speak about himself in the third person. The things these muggles dream of it, and like honestly, I mean, I know it's 1991, but parking meters now, like they've not been updated since 1991. They're still just like coins and like just they are terrible and they never work. They're just rubbish. Like yeah, don't be too impressed by them. And then Harry's just not letting this dragon thing go. It's like, did you say there were dragons? Well, so they say. Crikey, I'd like a dragon. You'd like one? What one ever since I was a kid? And again, setting it up nicely for Hagrid's obsession and love for dragons, which will come to pass in this book. A lot of stuff you'll come to pass in later books, but this one, it's like, yeah, hold it there, guys. We'll be getting you a dragon, don't you worry. And then they'll get Mitchell to London in 5 minutes. He didn't understand Muggle mugging. And again, we've talked about this, like £5, £10, £20 notes. Not fucking hard. Not at all. So Harry had to go buy the tickets, and then people stayed more on the train. Hagrid took up 2 seats, which is just rude on the train. Like, hate people who, when they put the bag there, or real bet, or they just sit on the outside seat, so you can't get to the inside seat, like a train with a table, and it's fairly big. And it's like, I can't be asked pushing back. Or when people are together, but there's one seat and then there's one seat over there, but they refuse to sit apart, so they stand blocking everything up, and then you can't get to the seat, so it just becomes an absolute pile-on. Train etiquette. I'm a guy who's on trains quite a lot. Like, I love a train, and I love travelling around on trains, like from where I live to where my dad lives, vice versa, and work. And I'm a massive train guy. I'm like, the people, you can tell people who don't travel on trains a lot, they piss me off so much. But not the point of his podcast. He was knitting what looked like a canary yellow circus tent. And what is he doing? A jumper, a bright yellow jumper? I can't imagine Hagrid wearing something yellow, like bright yellow, like canary yellow. I mean, is he knitting something for Hufflepuff? Is he a Hufflepuff? Because there's a bit of talk about that, which we will get to. But yeah, canary yellow is like, I can't imagine Hagrid wearing anything that bright and colourful and amazing. So yeah, who knows? And then we've got Harry's list of everything he used to buy, which is uniform. First years will require 3 sets of plain work robes, black. Like, look, I'm all for cleanliness. I had one. When you were at school, you had one. I had like one jumper and 1 pair of pants. I'm not being funny. 3 sets of plain work robes for the Weasleys. Like, that's you grow up. So if they've all got to always have 3, how do you even check that? Like, what if Ron only has 2 or 1? Like, no one's checking that either. Why is it 3 as well? Why can't I have 5 if I can afford 1 for each day and they get washed? See, it's a bit of a weird one. That I've never even thought about that until I've just read. It's not even in my notes for this one. It's like, 3? Really? Why 3? Please explain. Not please explain. Makes no sense. And then only 1 plain pointed hat for day wear. And it's never mentioned that they're wearing the hat. Like, at all. So I just feel like they've got it and they just never wear it. And obviously they never really wore it in the films except at like the end of year feast. Not even at the beginning of the year they didn't wear it. It's like the end of year in year 1, and that was about it. And it's never really mentioned in this, like, or depicted, or just so no one wore that thing hat. Like, fuck that. 1 pair of protective gloves, dragon hide or similar. I'm guessing this might be for herbology. Or something, because it's not really. They don't do care magical creatures yet, so I'm guessing it's herbology. There are some things that can bite you in herbology, so I'm guessing dragonhide gloves, dragonhide or similar. Like, because I reckon dragonhide gloves are expensive, so like Ron's probably got some shitty version, or he's got or similar. 1 pair of protective, 1 winter cloak, black silver fastening. So only 1 cloak. Bring your 3 work robes, but only 1 coat, guys. Please note that all pupils' clothes should carry name tags, and that was a massive thing at school. Like PE and stuff. The amount of jumpers that got like mixed up, and like you wearing this end up baggy one or a really small one, like, oh, nightmare. Put name tags in your school clothes, trust me. Set books. The Standard Book of Spells Grade 1 by my Miranda Goshawk. Again, like the set books for this one compared to like later on, obviously the Standard Book of Spells, you've got to get one each year. You're grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, all the way up to grade 7. History of Magic by Bethilda Bagshot, which is interesting. Again, obviously, it's like who decides the set list? Is it the teacher? Is it the headmaster? Because obviously, we know Dumbledore and Bethilda Bagshot have a bit of history, but obviously, is this, I'm surprised Bing's ain't just setting some book from like the 1800s or something, like the first ever wizarding history book, because he just doesn't seem to move with the times or with history. He's always talking about the same stuff. It's like he's frozen in the time when he's died and he just bores along. So it's a bit interesting he recommends that book. You got Magical Theory by Adalbert Waffling. I wonder what class is that for? Is that for is that used for all classes? Is it a general thing, like the theory of magic, or is it for transfiguration? Again, until I've said that at that point, like he's a wizard carding all the games, and he's a magical theoretician, but there's not really a theory of magic class here. There's not just a class called magic and like the history of it. So does this just help with your spells? Because there's not really a charm book, is there? Is like the Standard Book of Spells like a charm? Is that just a general book? Because then you do get the Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration by Emmerich Switch, which is a nice little name. Obviously, Switch for Transfiguration. I feel like good play on words there. And same with like waffling. I feel like the theory of stuff, you're waffling a lot of the time, like. So again, good fun name. And then we've got 1,000 Magical Herbs and Fungi by Philadelphia Spore. Again, Spore for a fungi sort of name. Perfectly named. I mean, a bit on the nose, some of these, I do have to admit. And obviously that's for Herbology. Magical Drafts and Potions by Arnesius Jigger. Again, just too on the nose for a potion here. And then we get Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander. And again, people always like, well, why do you get this? Because, again, this was actually made into a book afterwards. But I feel like it is for, like, you can use this for Defense Against Dark Arts, because, like, a lot of defense, a lot of dark arts can be like beasts and stuff, as we see with Lupin's Clash, and Quirrell talks about zombies, which takes me a bit out of Harry Potter. We'll get to that. But yeah, obviously that sort of thing there. I have no problem with Newt Scamander and his book. We also then get Dark Forces, A Guide to Self-Protection by Quentin Trimble, which is quite funny because almost tremble, and that's what Quirrell does a lot. So, that's good. That's fun. And yeah, we probably don't really use that book because we don't really get to see much Defense Against Dark Arts in this book, which is a bit odd. But yeah, there we go. And then we get other equipment: 1 wand, 1 cauldron, pewter size, standard size 2, 1 set glass or crystal files, 1 telescope, 1 set brass scales. And obviously, in the original print of the book, wand was printed twice, which, again, in my edition from 2001, it's not, but it was in the original. You have 1 wand, blah, 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 1 wand. So yeah, you need 2 wands. And then students may bring an owl or a cat or a toad, or if you're a poor little weirdo, you could bring a rat, because that's how you get to having a school. Who's also here, we won't touch on that yet, but yeah, it's like, well, why are we bringing a rat? Like, yeah, just also a cat. Like, I get it. Cats can wander about. Why are we stopping at cats? Just get a house dog. Like, get a dog for the Gryffindor house or something. I don't know. That'd be cool. I'm a dog person, but yeah, not a cat person. And obviously, everyone like toads and cats. Like Kneazles, fair enough. They're like hares, are really good for potion. They're really smart and stuff. And obviously, but what are we doing with a toad? Like, what magical function does a toad have compared to like an owl, which can deliver mail to anywhere in the world? And apparently, and then in big writing, parents who are reminded about first years are not allowed their own broomsticks. I don't know why. I always thought it said racing broomsticks, or if that's later on in the book, or like it's never really referred to again as like a racing broomstick. I might be imagining that, but I always imagine, yeah. I don't know if it's Malfoy that says it later. I'm not sure. And then Harry's like, can we buy all this in London? If you know where to go. So Harry had never been to London before, as said last time. Obviously, proves that this is not London. It wasn't London Zoo, unlike in the book, the film. Hagrid seemed to know where he was going, but obviously was not used to getting there in an ordinary way. He got stuck in the ticket barrier in the underground, and like, imagine like he's a big guy. Like ticket barriers are not that big. Like he must have been having to go like scooting past like this. I'm not surprised he got stuck. You know, they are quite small, like the train ones and stuff like that. And the seats were too small, and the train's too slow. Like, hang on a second. Whoa, Hagrid. Whoa. You've got this Hogwarts Express. It takes fucking forever. That's a train, Muggle train. I'm not saying you must have got on it. Slow train, mate. You know, it's not sped up. I don't think it's never implied like it's a magic train. It's just a train. So don't be going off on trains, mate. Okay, we've realised I'm quite passionate about trains. The crowd parted easily though, which is good in London. And then this thing the author liked to do in this book alone, like the early chapters. Anytime you wanted to bring about how Muggle the world was, you talk about cinemas, hamburger bars, and what's the other one? Music stores. Like they're the three most traditional Muggle things ever in the world, like hamburger bars. You never hear the word hamburger again, like Hogwarts. Not magical enough. You know, no cinemas. I always say so. I say cinema and cinemas, but it's the way it's the way Stephen Fry always says it. It's always like hamburger bars and cinemas. It's just got such a good rhythm to his voice, Stephen Fry. And yeah, I just feel like that. How non-magical can we get? And that is that. That's that. And he then obviously like Hagrid started doubting himself, going like, could this just be a piss take, a joke by the Dursleys? But the Dursleys don't have a sense of humour. They wouldn't be on something like this, no. And he couldn't help trust Hagrid. And that like trust of Hagrid is one of the most important things anyone could ever have. Like trusting Hagrid is like 101. You know, you've got to trust Hagrid. Everyone trusts him. Dumbledore trusts him. He's just a trusting person. His face, his assurance, just trust. Even though he's got a massive mouth, trust him. And then they came to a halt. The Leaky Cauldron. It's a famous place, and it really is. This is Harry's first foray into the magical world in 10 years. It was a tiny, grubby-looking pub. If Hagrid hadn't pointed it out, Harry wouldn't have noticed it. The people hurrying by didn't glance. Their eyes slid from the big bookshop at one side to the record on the other, as if they couldn't see the Leaky Cauldron at all. In fact, Harry had the most peculiar feeling they couldn't. And obviously, this is a bit like interesting. You know, does it have like a Fidelius charm on it? Is it protecting in a way? You're a bit like the Potter's house. Once you know about the secrets, that you can see it, but if you go, you can't see it. A bit like number 12 Privet Drive, number 12 Privet Drive, number 12 Grimmauld Place. Is it a bit like that where once you're told about it, like, so for example, Hermione's parents, if they weren't aware, they wouldn't see it, like, but they get taken to it. It's like, oh, I can see it now, yeah. I have a feeling it's a bit like that. So off we go inside. For a famous place, it was very dark and shabby. A few women were sitting in the corners drinking tiny glasses of sherry, one smoking a very long pipe. The little man in a top hat was speaking to the old barman, who was quite bald and looked like a gummy walnut. I didn't like what they did with, again, this is more just talking random bollocks here, but like what they did with Tom in the film in Prisoner of Azkaban, where he's like, where he's laughing. That hurt my throat so bad. I didn't like that. I much prefer the guy who had him in the first film. You know. So the barman reached for a glass and goes, "The usual, Hagrid." Like, Hagrid, you live up in Scotland in the Highlands. How do you have a usual at this place? Like, I'm pretty bad, to be fair. I'm very young at my local now. Anywhere I do go out for a drink. You know, it's Friday. It's Friday 3:00. I'm recording this. It's my birthday weekend. I'm going straight to a pub after this. It's 22 degrees outside. Get me to the pub, sat outside. I'll be having a few pints. I'll have a usual. But you live up in Scotland. Like, you're fair enough if you're in Hogsmeade, but when you've got a usual down in London, mate, you've got a problem. I know you stick out and you're a big guy. Obviously, you'll be popular, but you're either coming here too much or, yeah, God, Hagrid, sort yourself out. But he's like, can't, Tom, on Hogwarts business, clapping Harry's shoulder. And then the barman, looking, said, "Good Lord," peering at Harry's. "Is this? can this be? The leaky cauldron suddenly gone completely silent. Bless my soul, Harry Potter. What an honour. And like, fair enough. If but we know what James looks like, but still spotting him like this, I still have a hard time believing everyone just knows what Harry Potter looks like. Like straight away, unless Hagrid's probably being in before, going, oh, blah, after a few months, oh yeah, in about a month's time, I'm going to rescue Harry Potter. It's like, oh my god, yeah, this is what he was talking about last month. But I don't know. It's like, why is everyone always like? Surely he's not. He's famous, but no one's really. There's been no paparazzi lurking about Private Drive taking pictures of him, has for since he was born. Like people knew what he might have looked like as a baby, but yeah. Maybe they knew what the parents looked like and stuff, and we're going back down that route. But yeah, anyway, it's an honour. He rushed towards him and sees Harry's hand, tears in his eyes. Welcome back, Mr. Potter. Welcome back. Harry didn't know what to say. Everyone was looking at him. The old one with the pipe was puffing without realising it had gone out. And Hagrid's being like, oh, I told you, Harry. And then we get to meet Doris Crockford, Mr. Potter. Can't believe I'm meeting you at last. Always want to shake your hand. I'm all over flutter. I'm all over flutter now. Delighted, Mr. Pockle. Mr. Pockle? I can't read. I'm in a flutter. Delighted to meet you, Mr. Potter. Deadless Diggle's the name. I've seen you before, and Deadless Diggle's hat fell off. He's like, oh my god, he recognises me. He recognises me. Did you hear that? And then he shook more hands again and again. Doris Crockford, the dirty old weirdo, keeps coming back for more. It's like, oh, this is like the only time she's ever mentioned. You ever see Doris Crockford again? It's like, like Deadless Diggle comes back. A lot of the people come back, and it's like, yeah, Doris Crockford, get her out of there. We don't need her here anymore. And then a pale young man made his way forward. He very nervously, one eye of his eyes were twitching. Professor Quirrell, said Hagrid. Harry, Professor Quirrell will be one of your teachers at Hogwarts. Potter, stammered Professor Quirrell, grasping Harry's hand. Can't tell you how pleased I am to meet you. And then obviously he's like, what magic do you teach? Defence against the dark arts. Not that you'll be needing much of that, eh, Potter? And obviously it's an interesting thing here because in the film he's already got the turban on because Voldemort's on the back of his head, and they do a really smart thing. Quirrell doesn't actually shake Harry's hand in the film. Harry goes towards it and he's like, oh, no. But obviously here, Voldemort in the book, he hasn't gone to Harry's head yet. Quirrell's head yet, so he's got no turban on. He's just a pale young man, probably bald, which probably should raise way more alarm bells when this guy just turns up for the rest of the year wearing a fucking turban. Just very odd, especially but yeah. So at this point, Voldemort's not in his head. He's not got the turban on. He's just a normal man, shaking Harry's hand because he can, because Voldemort isn't attached to him yet. He was got to pick up a new book on vampires. He looked terrified at the very thought, and obviously it's a very good act, But again, why are we having this guy teaching? I know Dumbledore's suspicious of him, but do you reckon the teachers are in the comment the thing at that going, why the fuck's this guy? He's like, ooh, ooh. He's scared of his own shadow. Like, what's going on? Obviously, he was the Muggle studies teacher. As Hagrid goes, was he always this nervous? Oh yeah, poor boy, brilliant man. He was fine while he was studying out books, but then he took a year off to get some first-hand experience. The same met vampires in the Black Forest. There was a nasty bit of trouble with a hag. And again, introducing some of these creatures. We never really get to see a hag. We get to meet a vampire, but I don't think we ever get to see a hag or obviously a banshee, things like that. I think Seamus's theory is a banshee in Prisoner. But yeah. Anyway, got to go. Harry's head swimming. And then they're in the back alley. They're face up against the wall, and Hagrid's counting bricks in the wall above the dustbin. 3 up, 2 across, he mutters. I always remember I think there's an interactive, so Philosopher's Stone, the Ultimate Edition, had the original special thing. I think one of the interactive games you've got to do is remember the bricks Hagrid taps, and obviously 3 up, 2 across, and it's always. I don't know whether you have to. I always struggle with it. Basically, I was always crap at it. But yeah, he then obviously taps it with his umbrella. A small hole appears. It grows wider and wider, and a second later, they're facing an archway large enough for even Hagrid onto a cobble street, which twists and turns out of sight. Welcome to Diagon Alley. He grinned with him, and anytime I think of Diagon, that moment, I just hear that music. Oh, just iconic music. So we walk through, and Harry wishes he has like 100 eyes. There's cauldrons all sizes, copper, brass, pewter size, self-stirring, collapsible. Yeah, you'll be needing one of those, but you've got to get your money first. He wished he had 8 more eyes. Try to look up. This is one. A plump woman outside an apothecary shake her head as they pass. Dragon liver, 17 sickles an ounce. They're mad. 17 sickles is a galleon. So why don't we call it 1 galleon? Does 17 sickles sound cheaper than 1 galleon? I don't know, but you're getting scammed here, love, because that is 1 galleon. If they're making you pay sickles, stop. It's a galleon. Just give them a galleon and go. I'm surprised that I feel like that's still in the. Even if you got a book today, I feel like that's still there now, which is just a bit odd. It's 17 sickles is a galleon. But what do I know? What do I know? And then there was a low hooting soft sound coming from a dark shop saying Iolop's Al Emporium, Tawny, Screech, Barn, Brown and Snowy. Several boys about Harry's age had their nose pressed against a window with a broomstick. Look, one of them heard, the new Nimbus 2000, fastest ever. And again, the Nimbus 2000, so when I was younger, obviously, because again, for you younger peeps and you cool people, I don't think there's anyone really young. I feel like most people, when I look at my demographic, are either my age or pushing to the 30s. I don't think there's many people like 15, 16 watching this. But obviously, these books were written in originally starting about 90. It's set in 91. She started writing them about 92. Was published in 97. But obviously, the film, like obviously, my first thing because I was born in 99. The sort of millennium 2000 was a massive thing. Everything was like the year 2000. Everything was 2000. Like it was a massive cool thing. Like the Megatron 2000, and obviously the film came out in 2001. So I was like, oh yeah, it's called Nimbus 2000 because it's the year 2000. Obviously, then the year after 2001 makes sense. But obviously, this is 1991. Why is it called Nimbus 2000 when a year later we get the 2001? This seems a bit odd, a bit weird, and then you don't ever hear of Nimbus 2002 because it's the Firebolt, So yeah, not as cool, not as brilliant, but there we go. And then we get a robe shop, telescopes, strange silver instruments Harry'd never seen before. And then we reach Gringotts. They had reached a snowy white building which towered over the little shop. Standing beside its burnished bronze doors, wearing a uniform, was, yep, that's a goblin. Like, that probably sounds really offensive to a goblin as he's like walking. The goblin was a head shorter than Harry. He was suave, clever face, a pointed beard, and Harry noticed very long fingernails. He bowed as we walked inside. And then, facing a second bit of doors, we have the words engraved upon them. Enter, stranger, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but do not earn must pay daily in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned. Beware of finding more than treasure there. And like, obviously, a lot of it can be put down to, but it's almost like Voldemort, take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. Like Voldemort was greedy with life, like he wanted to be immortal. For those who take but do not earn, he took lives and sort of made Horcruxes, must pay daily in return. And obviously, again, eating unicorns, drinking unicorn blood, it's cursed life, a half life. So you pay must daily. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned. And obviously, Voldemort, weirdly enough, puts a treasure that was never his, like a stolen treasure, the cup of Hufflepuff, and he paid the price for it. But obviously, again, just that thing of, don't, like Hogan says, you'd be mad to try and rob it, which you would. There's long encounters, and then they go up to a free goblin. We've come to take some money out of Harry Potter's safe. You have his key, got it here somewhere. Obviously, in the film, sort of like the goblin, who's played by Warwick Davis, sort of reacts to like the name Harry Potter. But obviously here, it doesn't mean stuff. But obviously we learn later on that to grip hook, even in the the name Harry Potter does mean stuff. But this guy's just playing it cool, I'll play it cool. And I just love this because the goblins, you can tell it's like a nice marble, beautiful place, like the most brilliant, clean place ever. And seeing him at PS1 game with that fucking shiny, slippery floors, the bane of my life. Hagrid scattering mouldy dog biscuits over the book of the goblin. The goblin wrinkled his nose. I can imagine how pissed off. Got the key, and then that needs to be in order. And he's like, I've got a letter from Dumbledore. said Hagrid, throwing his chest out. It's about you know what in vault 713. And again, 713, it's almost close to Harry's birthday. It's like his birthday backwards, 31st of July, 31/7, 7/13. Harry's birthday, which it is the 31st of July as well on this day, so probably not intentional. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's also the author's birthday for what it's worth, but yeah, cool. The goblin read the letter carefully, and then he's like, "Yep, we'll get someone to take you down to both vaults." Grip hook. Again, Stephen Fry's voice here. Grip hook. And obviously, Grip Hook will be a very. He's sort of like a really throwaway character here. Like Deathly Hallows comes around. It's like, oh yeah, that guy who took Harry to his first vault, like the first snitch. Everything sort of comes back around to this first one and the seventh one. It's quite, yeah. And then Hagrid put all the dog biscuits inside. He's got to have a treat later on. And they followed Grip Hook off to one door leading off the hall. What's the you know what in vault 713? Can't tell you. Very secret. Hogwarts business. But I will tell you who it's between in about 4 months' time. I was like, shouldn't have said that. Should not have said that. I'll do that for you, Hagrid. More than what my job's worth to tell you. So they end up, Harry's like, oh, there'll be more marble here. And then they end up in a very stone passageway, flaming torches. It slopes deeply downwards, and there was little rail tracks on the floor. Griphook whistled, and a small cat came hurtling towards them. Hagrid somehow fits in. Like, the reason we have humans and goblins. Like, goblins are smaller than humans. Like, I'm surprised there's one that fits Hagrid. I'm going to be honest. Like, did you have to whistle for an extra special one? And just like that, they were off. It hurtled through a maze of twisting passages. Left, middle, fork, right. He just couldn't keep up. It was impossible. The rattling cart seemed to know its own way because Griphook wasn't steering. Harry's eyes stung as the cold air rushed past them. Once he thought he saw a burst of fire, and at the end of the passage, twisted around to it, but it was too late. They plunged even deeper, passing an underground lake where huge stalactites and stalagmites grew from the ceiling. I never know, called Harry over to Hagrid, what the difference between stalagmite and stalactites are. It's like, Harry, when I was 11, I still don't really know. I know now because there's like a little thing, but I've never even heard of the word stalagmite and stalactites. Like, they're the things like in caves that hang from the ceilings, like up the ground. Like, Harry, you're a wizard, mate. Now you don't get to be worrying about shit like that, like you little nerd. What are you worrying about that for? But there we go. And Hagrid's response is brilliant. One's got an ing. Like, fair enough, Hagrid. You've got Harry there. Checkmate. And obviously we find out Hagrid does not like this at all. He doesn't like the ride. He doesn't like being on there. He hates it, in fact. So, and he's like, don't ask me questions. Hagrid did look a bit sick. He was going very green. They got out. Hagrid had to lean against all that. Imagine if you just threw up everywhere on Harry's money. Griphook opens it up, and a lot of green smoke came billowing out. And as it cleared, there were mounds of gold coins, columns of silver, heaps of little bronco nuts. All yours, man. What's the green stuff? Like, is the gold, does gold after a while being contained for so long, start to give off what is the green smoke? I've always wondered this. Like, is it magic? Like, is it meant to be just a magical effect? Or, ooh, rich? Or what? Like, yeah, what's the green smoke? I wonder if it's just a thing gold does. I honestly do not know. But yeah, he's got a lot of money. They take something out. The Dursleys couldn't have known about this. They'd had him from him faster than blinking. They often complained about how much Harry cost to them. Yeah, I wonder if how much is a galleon to a pound? Because obviously the Grangers next time out, I do believe they do a bit of converting 50 quid into some money. So I wonder what the conversion rate is to Harry's wealth, because obviously we do learn Harry's wealth comes from James Potter and his family's hairline products, which Sleek Easy, I believe it's called. So happy days. So Hagrid helped Harry to power something up. The gold ones are galleons, 17 silver sickles to a galleon, and 29 cuts to a sickle. It's easy enough. Hagrid, no, it's not. It's fucking stupid. Even the people in the Wizard World don't know it. When people go around and go, 17 sickles? That's like me going 100 pennies when something's a quid. No, even your own people don't understand it. Anyway, we never actually get to hear what Harry's vault is in the book, and I always feel like you get to know it somewhere. Like, do we know what is Harry's vault number? So Harry's vault is 687, apparently. What's it be? Let's have a look. I wonder when it was known about this. So the Potter's Vault is identified as 687 in the film adaptation. The vault is also labelled 687 in the illustrated edition by Mina Lima Design. There we go. That's that. So 687. So not too far on from 713. So we get to 713, but Hagrid's like, "Can we go more slowly?" It's like, "One speed only." I feel like he's just doing that to piss Hagrid. I reckon it can go. It's like, no, I don't know, but it probably does only have one speed. Poor Hagrid. So Harry tried to lean over to see what was at the dark bottom, and like honestly, people, if you're like if you're on like a high bridge or something, people look, oh, it does make my stomach go a bit. I do like roller coasters and stuff, but not where we're like leaning across stuff like that. No, I'm one of those. I'm enjoying it, but I'm safely scatting. Like, yeah, this is fun. And then we get there, and this one can't be opened by a key, rather than Griphook scratching down the middle with his little finger, and it melted away. And he goes, if anyone but a Gringotts goblin tried that, they'd be sucked through the door and trapped in there. How often do you check to see if anyone's inside? About once every 10 years, with a rather nasty grin. So which begs the question I've always wondered. How the hell did Quirrell actually try and break into the vault? Did he get in the vault but it was gone? Or because if he tried that, he'd be sucked in there. And, obviously it's got to be some dark magic, but it's interesting. It's like how did he do it though? How did you break in this vault? Because if they've got to do that, like interesting. I think like, did he use a spell? Did he use Cursebreaker? Did he get a goblin and like make him scratch it down? Who knows? It's never really explained. But yeah. So Harry's like, there's got to be something amazing in this vault, like this high security vault. Oh my god, it's going to be rubies or something like that. Some fabulous jewels. But at first he thought it was empty. Then he noticed a grubby little package wrapped up in a brown paper lying on the floor. Hagrid picked it up, tucked it in his coat, and Harry knew better not to ask. And he was like, "Don't speak to me on this infernal cart, because I've got to keep my mouth shut here." Of course, we know this is the Philosopher's Stone. I do like that sort of subversion of expectations. Like, it's got to be this amazing high security. It's just like a little package, but it's got this amazingly powerful thing in. One wildcat later, they stood blinking in the sunlight. Harry didn't know where to run off first. He had a bag of money. He knew, though, he had more money than he ever had in his life. Maybe even more money than Dudley. And I don't think that's true. We saw what Dudley got for his bloody birthday. That's one birthday. Like, that guy gets probably double that at Christmas. And Harry, I hate to say it, you probably don't have any more money than what Dudley's ever had in his life. Hagrid goes, "Might as well get your uniform first," nodding towards Madam Malkin's robe for all occasions. And he's like, "Do you mind if I slip off for a pick-me-up?" I hate them Gringotts carts. He did look a bit sick, so Harry entered. For an 11-year-old in this crazy new world, he's so brave, like, and quite respectful. Like, "Oh, God, he does look a bit shit, actually. Yeah, maybe you should go for a drink." I mean, can I come with you and get a drink? Not like I'll come with you. I'll have like a lemonade or whatever the wizarding equivalent of a lemonade is for an 11-year-old. But yeah, he's so brave going to this big shop by himself to buy robes. He was feeling nervous, and then Madame Malkin was a squat, smiling witch dressed all in mauve. "Hogwarts Day!" Got the lot here, another young man being fitted up. He's in the back of the shop, and this is the introduction to Draco Malfoy, Harry's big adversary through these films. He's described as a boy with a pale pointed face, was standing on a footstool with a second witch pinned up his long black robes. Harry stood on the stool next to him, slipped on a long robe over his head, and they started to measure. And the boy goes, hello, Hogwarts too? My father's next door buying my books, and my mother's up the street looking at wands. He had a bored, drawling voice. Then I'm going to drag them off to look at race. He did say it. Look, I was right. Racing brooms. I knew someone said it. Who the fuck calls on racing brooms Malfoy? Obviously, we don't get to learn this guy's name until the train ride, but obviously he's a bit of a, oh, father's looking at my books and mother's looking at my wand, which is interesting, obviously, because we know the wand chooses the wizard. But if Malfoy's mum's looking at the wands, does she, like, that wand won't do very well for him. And obviously, when I listened to the Jim, the Super Carlin brothers sort of talk on this, they're like, oh, well, no wonder the one sort of switches allegiances on him. But I'm thinking, what if she's got all the measurements? Because we know that Ollivander does like the measurements around the nose, like nose to eye to the floor, whatever. What if they've already done that all at home and then she's just took him in, like, here, Ollivander, here are the measurements, and be like, pick some ones out he'll be here in a few minutes, sort of saving time. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's just gone in with the measurements already. And then obviously the bullying for racing brooms, you can't have them. First years are not allow them. Like, what you gonna do? And also bully my father. Like, oh, you can bully anyone, Draco. I mean, you try a lot. I mean, especially not your father. He won't be bullied by you. I mean, he bullies you in the next book. But yes, obviously he doesn't recognise him as Harry Potter, which is interesting because every fucker else does. And he goes, "Have you got your own broom?" "No," said Harry. "Play Quidditch at all?" "No." Wondering what on earth Quidditch could be. "I do. Father says it's a crime if I'm not picked for the team." "Oh, I must say I agree." "Know what house you'll be in yet?" "No." Harry feeling more stupid by the minute. "Well, no one really does until they get there, do they? But I know I'll be in Slytherin. All our family's been there. Imagine being in Hufflepuff. I think I'd leave, wouldn't you?" Harry wish he could say something more interesting. And then Hagrid appears, like, he's not been there too long. Like, do you neck this pint and so I'll go get an ice cream? He's like, he's back there now with 2 ice creams, pointing at them saying that's why he couldn't come in. The Malfoy, not knowing who he is, Harry police knowing he knew something the boy didn't, goes, "That's Hagrid. He works at Hogwarts." "Oh, I've heard of him. He's a sort of servant, isn't he? He's the gamekeeper." Harry liking this boy less and less with every second. "Yes, exactly. I heard he's a sort of savage, lives in a hut on the grounds, and every now and then gets drunk, tries to do magic, and sets fire to his bed. God, Hagrid, why are you like this, Hagrid?" "Oh." And Harry's like, really coldly, "I think he's brilliant." "Do you?" With a slight sneer. "Why is he with you? Where are your parents?" "They're dead." He didn't feel much like going into the matter with the boy. Sorry. Not sounding sorry at all. Were they our kind, weren't they? They were a witch and wizard, if that's what you mean. I don't think they should let the other sort in, do you? They're not the same. They've never been brought up to our ways. Some of them haven't even heard of Hogwarts till the letter get right. Imagine that. And he's like, "What's your..." He doesn't ask what his name is. Again, that sort of like pure blood. So, "Oh, so what's your surname?" Not what's your name. What's your surname? And just before Harry was about to answer, it was all done. And not sorry for excuse, stop talking. The boy hopped down from the footstool. "We'll see each other at Hogwarts, I suppose." And then we cut to Harry and Hagrid eating their ice cream, and Harry's a bit sad. Harry's having a chocolate and raspberry with chopped nuts, so a very fancy ice cream. So he asked Hagrid what is Quidditch, and this is the first explanation. "Blimey, I keep forgetting what little you know, not knowing about Quidditch." And Harry's like, "Oh, don't make me feel worse." And it's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that." And obviously, he then explained about the Pale Boy and Madame Malkins, and about how people from Muggle families should be allowed in. "You're not from a Muggle family," Hagrid explains. "If you know who he was, he'd be growing up knowing your last name. If his parents are wizarding folk, you saw him with a leaky cauldron. Anyway, what does he know about some of the best I ever had were only Magic Kingdom came from a long line of muggles? Look at your mum and what she had for a sister." He's like, "Yeah, you tell him, Hagrid." And he's like, "What is Quidditch?" "It's our sport. Wizard sport. It's like football." So he knows about football. Like, Hagrid knows a lot weird stuff about the wizard world at times, like Muggle world, but doesn't know a lot of other stuff. It's like football in the Muggle world. Our sport. Everyone follows Quidditch, played up in the broomstick. 4 balls. Sort of hard to explain the rules. It's not. I mean, Ron will explain the rules in a bit, but it's not too hard. I don't think Hagrid's the biggest fan of Quidditch, but he does like it. But yeah, why does Hagrid know about football? Interesting. And what a Slytherin Hufflepuff. Schoolhouses. There's 4. Everyone says Hufflepuff for a lot of duffers. I bet I'm in Hufflepuff. Better Hufflepuff is Slytherin, said Hagrid darkly. There's not a single witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't a Slytherin. You know who was one. Well, sorry, you know who was at Hogwarts years and years ago, said Hagrid. So yeah, there. I don't. Sorry, I got a message on my phone, and that threw me. So obviously, interestingly, Hagrid, obviously, as a member of staff, probably shouldn't show favouritism towards one house, or be like, oh yeah, better that than Slytherin. And obviously, people, there's the theory that Hagrid was in Slytherin, that's why he knew Tom Riddle, but I don't believe that. And obviously, the yellow stuff with Hufflepuff, I believe he was a Gryffindor. I mean, it said on Pottermore in the end he was a Gryffindor. I think in the film he was portrayed as a Gryffindor. Yeah, I don't buy he was in any other house. I sort of get the thing, oh, that's why he's down there, that's why he knows Tom Riddle, but Hagrid's massive giant. Probably everyone knew Hagrid when he was at school, probably always causing trouble, wrestling stuff and, being crazy, crazy guy. My book flipped across. And then obviously he's like, yeah, you know who was a Slytherin. It's like, what? You know who? Oh, find out about that next time. But then he obviously says about not a witch or wizard who went bad but wasn't in Slytherin. Sirius Black much? Again, obviously, maybe he doesn't want to mention about the guy who portrayed Harry, or that he was Harry's dad's best friend, but he was a Gryffindor. And obviously, as we found out, Peter Pettigrew, a lot of wizards do go bad. Peter Pettigrew, Quirrell, a Ravenclaw. Lockhart, Ravenclaw. A lot of bad people there. Zachariah Smith, he's just a prick. He's a witch. He's a dickhead more. But yeah, there we go. Hagrid then goes into Flourish and Blocks, where the shelves were stacked with books. And obviously, he had to be dragged away from curses and counter curses. Bewitch your friends and befuddle your enemies with the latest revenge. Hair loss, jelly legs, tongue tying, and much, much more by Professor Victus Videt. Again, very on the nose, these sort of authors. I was just trying to find how to curse Dudley. I'm not saying that's not a good idea, but you're not to use magic in the Muggle world only in exceptional circumstances. So obviously that first thing of you can't use it in the Muggle world, obviously the sort of beginning of the trace and whatnot. And he's like, and anyway, you couldn't use any of them traits. You couldn't work any of them curses anywhere. You've got to do a lot more studying before you get to that level. And we wouldn't even buy him a solid gold cauldron either. It says pewter on your list. Oh, they did get a nice collapsible brass telescope. They got a lot of stuff from the apothecary. And then it was just Harry's wand. Also a birthday present, sorry. So he got him, I'll tell you what, I'll get you an animal. Not Toad. Toad went out of fashion years ago. You'd be laughed at. I don't like cats. They make me sneeze. Getting Hagrid. I'll get you an owl. All the kids want owls. They're dead useful. Carry your post and everything. 20 minutes later, they left Islop's Owl Emporium, which had been dark, full of rustling, flickering, jewel-bright eyes. Harry now carried a large case which held a beautiful snowy owl, fast asleep with her head under a wing. Obviously, we don't find... There's that misconception he calls a Hedwig straight away, but he actually does a bit of reading on that over the summer. That doesn't happen right now. So anyway, it's now Ollivander's just left now. Only place for wand, and you've got to get the best, and that's Ollivander's. But it's the only place that makes wands in Britain, nowhere else. And this is what Harry had been really looking forward to. And as we learn here, the Ollivander family had been making wands since 382 BC. Funny story, when I was a kid, I always thought John Hurt was a woman in this scene with like a little bit of a beard. I don't know why, don't judge me. I always thought, yeah. I'm talking when I was like 3 or 4 watching this for the first time. I always remember thinking, well, that's a weird looking woman. Anyway, so yeah, 382 BC. That's what? 2000, it's about 2,250 years at this point. Absolutely crazy. A tinkling bell rang somewhere in the depths of a shop. It was a tiny place, except for a single spindly chair, which Hagrid sat on to wait. Harry felt strange as well. He entered a very secret library. He swallowed a lot of new questions. It feels like it's just got a bit of magic in there. Like there's all these wands, and obviously it's got this quiet, tingly sort of thing to it. It's like the magic swirls around you. It's a very ornate, magical place. And then a soft voice spoke. Good afternoon. Yeah, and obviously he's gone. Even Harry actually says this. It made the back of his neck prickle. The dust and silence in here seemed to tingle with some secret magic. And then obviously Harry jumped. Hagrid breaks the chair. Why are you sat on the chair, Hagrid? And then an old man was standing before them, pale eyes shining like moons through the gloom of the shop. Like he's got enough feet. It's like hello, oh, like that sort of thing. And obviously we've come to find Ollivander to be a bit of a complex character, a bit of an oddity, a bit of an oddball, a bit of a weird, a bit strange. And he knows how straight away. It wasn't a question. I thought I'd be seeing you, Harry Potter. You have your mother's eyes, like. And I always remember Zeppelin 1993, one of my favourite YouTubers going, yes, in my pocket, when playing one of the games. It always makes me laugh. But again, like, how does you know what her eyes look like? You probably saw her maybe twice maximum, but yet you're remembering her fucking eyes. No! And then obviously he goes, it only seems yesterday herself was buying her first wand. Like, and again, it's that sort of thing of most wizards probably only have one wand, but do they? Quite a lot of wands can probably break and stuff like that, but I wonder why she went and got a second wand, or when did she? And obviously he then talks about her first one, 10 1/4 inches long, swishy, made of willow, nice one for charm work, and she was a charming person. And obviously she casts the Fidelius charm, so again, foreshadowing, good charm work. And then your father, on the other hand, favoured a mahogany wand, 11 inches, pliable, little more powerful, excellent for transfiguration, which, as we know, he was great at transfiguration because he did the most complex transfiguration. He became an animagus, which we will talk on, obviously, in Prison of Azkaban a lot later on. Well, I say your father favoured it. It's really one that chooses a wizard, of course. And then, out of nowhere, obviously he mentions, and that's where, looking at the scar, I'm sorry to say I sold that wand, 13 1/2 inches, powerful wand, very powerful, in the wrong hands. Well, if I'd have known what that one was going out to do. And then he spots Hagrid and goes, Rubeus! Hagrid, the only person who calls him Rubeus. We're getting on that, remember. I said that last time, I've not done it all this part, but Rubeus Hagrid it is. And then obviously talks about his one, which was 16 inches, rather bendy, wasn't it? I feel like Hagrid's one shouldn't be bendy, it should be sturdy. He's a big guy, good one that, but I suppose we snapped it when you got expelled. Said Mr. Ollivander sternly. Yes, but I do have the pieces, but you don't use them. He says, like, I think Hagrid, the worst line in the world, gets really touchy, like, oh yeah, they're definitely got in my umbrella, holding it ever closer to him. And Mr. Ollivander knows, like, I reckon Mr. Ollivander would be a snitch like that, but he probably would go to the ministry. And then he pulls out a long tape measure and he measures Harry from shoulder to finger, wrist to elbow, shoulder to floor, knee to armpit, around his head. And as he measured, every Ollivander wand has a powerful core. We use unicorn hairs, phoenix tail feathers, and the heartstrings of dragons. No two Ollivander wands are the same, just as no two unicorns, dragons, or phoenixes are quite the same. Which is interesting because Harry and Voldemort are going to share a core of the same phoenix, so it is the same phoenix. But obviously the wands are quite different. But yeah, that sort of core, it's interesting. Like no two wands are the same, but these two are the same. Like they're brothers. They're not exactly the same, but they are the same at the same time. Which, yeah, very odd. And then it finds someone. So the first one is Beechwood Dragon Heartstring, 9 inches, nice and flexible. And obviously, there's this whole thing of Pottermore of like what Beechwood is good at and what Dragon Heartstring's good at. I haven't got it open. Nothing happened. Maple and Phoenix Feather, 7 inches, which is really small. Like I think Umbridge's one's like 7.5 inches, and she's a really small one. So 7 inches is quite a small wand. Big penis. Small ones. But again, interesting, it's Phoenix Feather. I wonder if that's a Fox Phoenix. Probably not. And then Ebony and Unicorn, 8.5 inches, Springer. He had no idea what Mr. Ollivander was waiting for. It was climbing higher and higher. So it's not just these ones. He does a lot of wands. Tricky customer, eh? Not to worry, we'll find you a match. I wonder, yes, why not? Unusual combination. Holly and Phoenix Feather, 11 inches, nice and supple. 11 inches, like quite a big for like an 11-year-old. Harry took the wand. He felt a sudden warmth in his fingers. He waved the wand above his head. It brought down with a swish through the dusty air, a stream of red and gold sparks. So obviously red and gold, very important. Like red and gold's a bit like the Gryffindor colours, but the gold stuff is like a lot of stuff Harry does is like gold. Your golden snitch, the golden flame in the last one, golden potion, a lot of stuff about Harry. He's like the golden boy. So gold is like quite a big colour for Harry. And then yeah, Mr. Ollivander cried, "Bravo!" and Hagrid whooped and clapped. Whoop, whoop! Can't imagine Hagrid whooping. Like, whoop, whoop! Here comes the party bus. Whoop, whoop! He was still muttering, "Curious, curious." But what's curious? And then he goes, "I remember every wand I've ever sold, Mr. Potter. Every single wand. It so happens that the phoenix whose tail feather resides in your wand gave another feather. Just one other. It is very curious that indeed that you should be destined for this wand, when its brother gave you that scar. Yes, 13.5 inches. You. Curious indeed how these things happened. But one chooses the wizard, remember. I think we must expect great things from you, Mr. Potter. After all, he who must not be named did great things. Terrible, but great. Yeah, again, obviously Harry's like, I don't know if I like this guy that much. And I'm the same. I don't know if I like him either. At all. It's a bit odd. But again, it's interesting, obviously, because obviously we know. I mean, Ollivander writes straight to Dumbledore after it's like, shit, because obviously the Phoenix that gives us feather is Fawkes, who we meet in the next one. It's like, oh my god, it's Fawkes. Fawkes a Phoenix. Fawkes. He gave Voldemort's one and Harry's. But it's interesting is it part of because of what's inside Harry, Voldemort being inside Harry, that this particular one chooses it? Again, all very interesting. Is that the reason they become brothers, or is it just the magic? I always think it must be a bit of like there's a bit of Voldemort in Harry, so that one sort of being like a bit like Voldemort ones reacts to him. I always think that anyway. Again, I'd love to know what you think. And yeah, just the thing about like great thing. No, Ollivander, I know you like magic and you love the sort of like lore of magic. We're not glorifying murder now. No. And yeah, like I said before, he paid 7 gold galleons. That is so cheap. That's too cheap. Don't like that. One should be more expensive. But there we go. Other than that. Oh yeah, and just one more thing I wanted to talk about. It's on the last page, just while we're on the fact of Muggle money. Is where is it? Where's it? And yeah, Harry examined silver unicorn horns at 21 galleons each. Which 21 galleons for a unicorn horn, but unicorn hair in the Wizarding World. How much was that? Unicorn hair, Harry Potter. How much was it? Because obviously it's part of wands. So, unicorn hair is worth 10 gallons for each strand. So, that's why I wanted to touch on it here. I've made a note, because unicorn horn, 21 gallons, there's only one horn. And that's only 21 gallons. And the horn of a unicorn is what makes the unicorn a unicorn. If it doesn't have a unicorn, it's a fucking horse. But each individual hair, I call it Hoary Slughorn, is 10 galleons, apparently. Yeah, he's selling a wand with all the wood and all the other stuff for 7. You're in the wrong business, mate. You know, obviously, prices may have varied and there might be a skyrocket because that is in Half-Blood Prince. And obviously, Ollivander's gone and, you know, the sort of Wizarding World's at war, so maybe there's been a price hike. But yeah, makes you think that, doesn't it? Each little hair's worth 10 and you're chopping off the unicorn horn for 21. You might as well just shave a unicorn and make a million galleons or something. But there we go. They left the shop and they made their way through the wall and back on the underground with all the packages. Harry only realised that they were there when Hagrid tapped him on the shoulder. So, obviously, in the film, Hagrid then goes, because obviously you've got to remember this is July 31st, August, July 31st, the day they go here, and obviously they then just go to platform 9 3/4 just from here in the film. It's like, what? But school doesn't start for another month. Like, what's going on? So obviously here, Harry has to go back to the Dursleys, which must be so awkward. That first night where they're back at Privet Drive must be so awkward and weird. Anyway, they're like, got a bite for eat before the train leaves, and Harry's just very quiet, and he's like, it was the best birthday ever, yet he was trying to find the words, he felt lost. Everyone thinks I'm special. All those people in the Leaky Cauldron, Professor Quirrell, Ollivander, but I don't know anything about magic. How they can expect me to be great things? I'm famous. I can't remember what I'm famous for. I don't know what happened when when Night's parent died. And obviously that imposter syndrome, we've probably all felt it. I feel it probably daily, like almost daily. Like, how have I got this job? Or what I'm doing this with people watching me on YouTube. I'm getting paid money to do it. It's like, what? It's so odd and weird, but yeah. And then Hagrid, being the amazing guy he is, like, don't you worry, Harry. You'll learn fast enough. Everyone starts at the beginning of Hogwarts. You'll just be fine. Just be yourself. I know it's hard. You've been singled out, and that's always hard. But you'll have a great time at Hogwarts. I did. Still do, for a matter of fact. Especially when you're setting your bed on fire, Hagrid. I believe them rumours. And then, obviously, the thing that didn't happen, but Hagrid helped Harry up with a train that would take him back to the Dursley, then hand him an envelope. Your ticket to Hogwarts. 1st September, King's Cross. It's all in your ticket. Any problem with Dursleys, send me your owl. Send me a letter with your owl. She'll know where to find me. Once again, we started with this, we're ending with this. How though? How? And then see you soon. The train pulled out of the station. I wanted to watch Hagrid until he was out of sight. He rose, but in a blink, and Hagrid was gone. Where did he go? Did he apparate? Like, how's Hagrid doing all this magic? He can't apparate. He's too big. He didn't get to 6th year. He got to the halfway through his 3rd year. It's amazing. It's like, no, Hagrid should not be able to just disappear like that. He can't. He's too big. Like, yeah, maybe he's got the invisibility cloak. Who knows? But he shouldn't be able to just disappear like that. And there we go. What a chapter. So much happens. It's definitely one of my favourites in the book. Diagon Alley is one of my favourite areas in the Wizarding World. It's such a brilliant chapter. Obviously, we get to learn a bit about Hogwarts itself, the Wizarding World, our first adventure into it, with all the magic, Gringotts, Harry's wand, Ollivander, Malfoy, Quidditch. We get it all in this chapter. Really, really good chapter. Definitely my favourite so far. Probably won't be beaten. There's probably, well, maybe 2. Maybe the end, like the Man with Two Faces or Through the Trapdoor, them sort of later chapters. But yeah, obviously, amazing chapter. Up next, we have the journey to platform 9 3/4, and we learn all about the funny stuff there. There's obviously a few quirks and weird stuff that happened in this chapter, but this has been such a bumper episode. My voice is absolutely killing, my throat is killing. An hour and 16 minutes we've been going with this for a 19-page chapter. It's amazing how much detail and stuff we just got from that. Hopefully you've enjoyed this sort of longer episode. Leave all your thoughts below, leave any questions, obviously like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you all soon for episode 11 next week, and of course next Friday, episode 12, chapter 6, the journey to platform 9 3/4. Bye bye everyone.